Hello, my fellow KW stakeholders. Of course, it's Aaron Kaufman, Chief Stakeholder Evangelist, self-titled, out of Atlanta, Georgia. Here today with another installment of a My 401 KW interview. Today, we have literally one of my most favorite people at KW, the fabulous Marybeth Olive. How you doing today?
I'm great. I had a chest cold last week, and I'm like, I hope I can talk on Monday. So,
oh, you're good. You got that. You got that sexy, sick voice. So keep it going. Okay. All right. Look, you and I go way back. We both share not only a passion for profit share, but I think an enthusiasm for expanding it and really growing it within our company. You and I both know it's the best kept secret in KW. I mean, less than 30% of our people even participate in it. Of the people that participate, 20% of them make 80% of the money. So that means that less than 6% of our associates earns 80% of our profit share. And obviously you and I are two of those people. So look, I know you have an incredible story. I know you do some amazing stuff with your profit share money, but let's kind of go back, Marybeth, and kind of take us through your journey at KW. Who were you before KW? How did you join? How'd you get into real estate? How did you join KW? Who was your sponsor? And then we'll kind of go from there, right?
Awesome. And I so appreciate you doing this because this is just so overly needed, right? For us to talk about these stories, big, small, doesn't matter. KW has impacted our lives. And I have been here I'm in my 20th year.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yep. So we've been taking this ride together, and not many people can say that. And I personally never got off the boat. So my journey starts back. I was 26 when I got into real estate. Prior to that, I went to college for sculpture.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. Welder. I love metal. And my Steve Schleter, my first MAPS coach, he knows all about it. My big goal is to eventually be in my studio. Amazing. And my husband is a musician, so he'll have his music studio. I'll have my art studio.
Oh my God. I didn't know how cool. I didn't realize how cool you were. I'm married to an artist as well, but she is, like yourself, been forced she's built a photography business. I mean, it's still in the art space, but I think it's even more painful for her because she just wants to be an artist, you know?
Yeah. And photographers often have to commercialize in order to 100%. Make a living, right? Yep. And I actually thank the business planning and models of Keller Williams and real estate for helping me figure out, what I can make money on the art side. Yeah. I just need the time, which is what profit share will allow me to do in order to make a business out of it. Because of course, I'm not going to not have a business. So when I first was in college, went for sculpture, art history. I thought I was definitely going to be in the art field forever. Came back and worked for the same restaurant family that I had worked for 15 years. Amazing. So 15 years.
I've been there too, girl. I've worked many years in the restaurant business, which I always tell people, even people coming into the business that are coming out of the restaurant business, I'm like, look, if you can survive the restaurant industry, real estate, you're going to kick butt in real estate for sure.
Your best team leaders, rainmakers, absolutely come from hospitality business or nursing or teaching, right? But if you go find yourself an excellent restaurant manager and put her in a team leader role, man, she'll just run it. So I worked for the same family, and I guess during working for that same family, I did learn models and systems. What kept bringing the people back to the same restaurant? We would expand. We opened up 5 different restaurants. The last restaurant I was able to help her design because of my art background, right? Yeah. And then, the restaurant business is it's just not a healthy one to stay in forever.
Brutal, for sure.
100%. So it led me to a horrible car accident in 2004, May 14, 2004. I was in a vet going 138 miles an hour. I was the passenger. My driver blacked out, and we slammed into the back of a Civic, ricocheted off of that, and went into a pole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not hear to know that. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yep. So in that 0.8 of a mile, as we were crashing into the Civic, my whole life flashed in front of me. And I thought to myself, gosh, I didn't get to do enough. And all I could think of was my mother, my father, my sister, my brother. I am dead.
Yeah.
And, thank God for doctors and family and prayer. And I was fine. I came out of it 3 months later after intensive therapy and being laid up in a bed. one of my best customers from the restaurant said, when you get better, I'll take you to lunch. I said, okay. Now, he was a commercial broker, one-man shop. And I knew he was always happy, right? He was just had his free time. He'd come in for his lunch. I give him his shrimp and broccoli, come back 5 o'clock for his Grey Goose gimlet. And I give myself a $10 tip. And he would say, you're worth more than that. So he took me to lunch and he said, you need to go get your real estate license. You have everything about it to make a success, customer service. You sign your own credit card. I mean, I come every day, twice a day because of the service you provide. And I think that you're worth $10,000 a tip. And I was like, whoa, 26 years old, you got my ear. And that really just motivated me. I had respected him enough to go and sign up for a 2-week class. I'm in New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl forever. Except I did go to West Virginia University college years. So
I stuck out a little bit there, I'm sure.
Yeah, gosh, you could take the Jersey out of the girl out of Jersey. You could take the Jersey out of the girl. So anyhow, I got motivated. I went and I did the class in 2 weeks. I went and took the state 1 more week, 3 weeks. I called Bill Barglow up. I said, hey, got my real estate license. I'm going to come work for you. He said, nope, you're not going to work for me. He said, you owe it to yourself to go work for somebody that's going to train you well and give you a fair compensation.
Nice.
So that to me was the best advice I could have in 2004. There weren't a lot of brands, that would compensate a new agent more than 50%.
Yep.
And I had called around and I said, Bill, I can't find anybody, but I'm going to, because I'm not working for 50%. That's crazy lands. And, in hindsight, I think, with the value that could be provided, but I landed in the right place. One of my waitresses, one of my hostesses, they were related to my sponsor. Her name is Gina Coppola. So they said, go talk to Gina. Gina works for some real estate company that just opened in New Jersey. She loves it. Go talk to her.
Awesome.
So here I go in the backyard, and there's this lady with a little skinny cigarette. And she's telling me, you got to go to Keller Williams. I said, tell me 2 great things why I should go to Keller Williams. Well, 1, they're going to give you the 70% as a new agent. And 2, you can make 100%. Nice. And I just thought, 100% of what? Like, what am I going to make? What am I going to do? So I said, get me an interview. And the minute that I sat with Maureen Camilleri, who was my first team leader, I said, this company is different than what I'd been listening to, what I've been hearing. Yep. And I saw this amazing training calendar. And even back in 2004, we were having a training every single day in our offices, in our market centers. So that is ultimately how I got into real estate. The other thing that made me feel confident about choosing Keller Williams was our broker owner. She now, I think last month we were number 15 in profit share.
Is that Adele DeMora? Yeah, she's amazing. Right. Yeah, she owns multiple offices. She's I know she's $1 million profit share earner, but she pours into her market center. She's brought me up there a couple of times to teach. But I mean, look, that you and I being on the profit share task force, we talk about this stuff all the time, right? And KW is just a model, right? It takes the right people, the right who to make it work. And so how lucky are we to, I came out of Atlanta, Sean Rawls, right? I know you know that name, right?
And Sean Rawls was my regional director. I watched his interview, and I can tell you how much he's shaped me, and I could see that he's shaped you, and just the way we think about things, the way we poke at things, the way we question, curious.
I mean, you and I, let's get real. We're both non-BS people, right? It sometimes gets us in a little bit of trouble, probably me more than you.
Yeah.
But, I always say in my class or anytime I talk, I say, look, if I didn't have a high level experience at Keller Williams as an agent first, I could have cared less how much money I could have made in profit share. So I'm indebted to people like Sean Rawls, right. Jennifer Barnes, people that were top agents in my office, because they simply just loved on us, poured into us. And that is what inspired me, right, to kind of get purposeful about it. So I love that you gave her a shout out. So you go into her office, you go into that office. Obviously, one of my favorite sayings at KW, it's not just about what you get, it's about who you become, right? So you come in as an agent, right? You like the idea of a higher commission split, training. So take a step.
I mean, let's be honest. I was 26 years old. I had no idea what to wear. Right. That was like the biggest challenge. Gina Coppola was like, put a blazer on. You're 20. Right. You need to put a blazer on, right? So I had these amazing people in this environment that KW is. Like you said, who you become because of the people that surround you. But our Y4C2Ts, our belief system, we had it painted on the wall. We went to family reunion. We went to mega camp right from the get-go. The one thing I can say Adele did right as an OP, one of the things, many things.
Yeah.
But from the get-go, she didn't know what was going on. It was just like, let's all go as a group. We're going to show up. We're going to engage. We're going to show up and they're going to pour in and we're going to bring it back. And then we're going to do the same to our local people that can't get to the events.
Yep.
So 26 years old, I sell 21 houses in my first year.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And some of these were from people you met in the restaurant business, or was it just
the first two? The first two, right?
I love it.
The restaurant owner's son, who's like a cousin to me,
sure.
Dominic, right? So Dominic still owns that property. The best thing he ever did. It's been a rental property for 20 years. And then the second one was a customer that I got into high school with. That was one of my clients. Her and her husband were getting married. And then after that, I mean, I still have, just this morning, I was talking to an agent who used to sit at my bar.
Yeah.
Right. And he's still in the business because we can't find a key that one of us showed a house. Could be me. I don't know.
That's hilarious. But 21 houses in your first year in New Jersey. I mean, you're talking 5-6 million somewhere in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, first year. I mean, that's unbelievable. You probably doubled your income in the first year in real estate, right?
Yeah, I was used to making $50,000 as a 26-year-old in the restaurant. When Gina's like, "Oh, when you make $90,000, you're going to get 100%." I'm like, $90,000? Yeah. What do you people think is going to happen here?
Exactly.
So I poured in. I showed up. People say, "What was the success?" I showed up every single day like I had a job at the office. Yeah. Right. So if there was back in the day floor time opportunity, I took it. Open house time opportunity, took it. We're going to go see some properties. I'm going out to preview. And I just engaged. Yeah. So first year was 21. We did over 6 figures. I was like, wow, I bought a house. And at the height in October of 2005, just sold that a few years ago.
Yep.
Also, I listened to Mark King's story about his worst investment. Really wasn't the worst investment, right? Yeah. I still had cash flow coming for 20 years. I sold it and took the cash back out, turned it into something else.
Exactly.
Real estate's amazing. So, all those years, I started to build a team. My red book looks like it's been through a war. So I put an assistant in place, put a buyer's agent, show agent. I had like 4 or 5 of us. And then in 2008, we were looking for another team leader.
Yeah.
We were looking for the 5th team leader in 4 years. Wow. And I was an ALC member 3 of those 4 years. And I just thought, wow, I was going to these conferences, seeing what people were doing as team leaders, as offices and market centers, where they grow in profit share, agent count. I mean, I was still in the land of 40 agents in an office, was a big office.
Sure.
Right. Just until recently, our region was floating at like 120 average market center size.
Yeah.
And, no longer. Right. We're at West Monmouth is literally at almost 700 agents right now, which is the first office. So, I decided
that position. Yeah. In 2008, which by the way, look, 2008 was, a big time for a lot of us, right? I mean, I had gotten purposeful about profit share in 05, right? The timing of 08 wasn't the best thing in the world, but when you're in the storm and people are like, "Hey, enjoy the journey," you're like, "Yeah, go jump off a cliff." But the truth is, if it wasn't for that shift, I never would have built my class. I never would have met my wife, who, by the way, I met in a restaurant waiting tables after, in the shift. So looking back on it, I can attribute a lot of my life today to those 2 or 3 years from 2007 to 2010 when I just leaned into the shift. So talk about taking over a team leader position in a shifting big shift, right? What was that like?
At 29 years old, wow. I was really, I'm only 4 years in the business. I followed the models. I remember looking at somebody in my office who is now a team leader, and I said to her, "You think I can do this?"
Yeah.
And she said, "Girlfriend, you can run dog years around these people." I was like, "Are you serious?" Because I'm so young and I'm not even a broker yet. Like, it's not about that. That red book in and out.
Right.
Your agents and you have empathy, right?
Yeah,
I was reading something about like sympathy is separation, but empathy is like being together. And
Absolutely.
that was me. I was going to empathize. I had picked up that phone before. I had done those open houses. I had gotten the denial, mortgage after 2 months into the deal. I'd been through it all. Yeah. And then on the agent side, what really helped me, on the team leader side, what helped me was being on the agent side, that I could relate to what that agent was going through. And I had built my business through our models, and I had seen what putting an assistant in place did for my business. I saw what going to Recruit Select 1 million times, signing up for Bold 12 times. I saw what that did for my business. Yeah. And actually with Bold, I saw what it did for other people's business, because Bold came around when I became a team leader. Mm. And I hosted Bold 12 times, right, during the journey. But being a team leader is, I urge people. I hope that this actually encouraged some people to be a team leader, Aaron, because we need team leaders. We need team leaders.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I mean, and look, it's a tough job. It's a thankless job, right? I mean, in some ways, thankless in the sense that people don't always know how many hats you're wearing and all the things you're doing, right? They think, oh, you're just recruiting or whatever. But the fact is, you're the CEO of this business. And, my guess is, Marybeth, is that, just like it is for real estate agents in a shifting market, that's when customers need great agents. And what is that saying? The market share you take in a shifting market, you never give back, right? So when you're a team leader and you're leaning into your associates and you're loving on them and you're caring about them and you're building stronger relationships in a shift like we're in right now, my guess is those relationships are even, when you come out of the shift, you've built such strong relationships with your client base or your roster that, you become stronger than you were going into it. And I'm assuming that's what came out of the shift for you, right? You leaned in, you commit to mastery, you loved on your agents, and then as the shift kind of came back, bam, you guys exploded, right?
Well, and I will tell you that 8 to about 13, right? So 8 to 13, 2008, 2013, I'm leading West Monmouth. I'm the team leader. I'm young at first, but I go, you know what? I can do this. And it was about me walking in the confidence of that, saying that we need a leader that understands the book, understands the models, can help our agents build businesses, build teams out properly, stop with this commission breath, recruiting Keller Williams all over, really make it's a value when you come to Keller. There's a benefit for you to even talk about us as an option for your business solution. It wasn't, let me recruit you. It really was, are they doing this in your office? Who in your office is training you on this? All right, why don't you come over to ours? So we trained through the shift in 08 to 11. I fast forward, I was still a team leader when pandemic hit, and then I was team leader just, recently now. So there's been a couple of times, and I'll tell you, Gary also holds on to that. Go back into the training room, team leaders. The training room is where the magic happens. It's where the relationships really, really mean something. And if you're a team leader and you can't go into a training room because you got nothing to say, well, then you're unfortunately just telemarketer, and you're just picking up that phone just to sell them something that you don't even really believe in.
Well, how can you help people if you're not even valid? And I mean, literally, let's get real. So if you haven't read and look, the same thing goes for, agents that are listening right now. It's like, if you want to get purposeful about profit share, well, first of all, you got to be an agent other agents respect.
That's right.
And like, if you haven't read the MREA book, if you don't come into the office for training, if you're not leveraging our tech, right? If you don't participate in culture, well, then how are you valid, right? And
how about if I say to you, I'm going to see you in Vegas this year, right? And you go, for what?
Exactly. And by the way, a part of that is obviously, that individual, but also a part of that is the leadership of the market center they're in, right? I mean, a lot of, not every market center plugs in their associates into the KW ecosystem at a high level, right? And so, a lot of the agents don't know about a lot of the stuff that is very commonplace to us, right?
Well, and to that point is, I had at that, when I became the team leader in our New York tri-state region, we had just kind of turned hands to Sean Rawls and Brian Fair.
Yep.
And they had already had huge successful offices in your area, Atlanta and Georgia. And so they were just bringing their knowledge and experience to our region. And we really gelled as a region. We did a lot of training as a region. I would hope to think that I showed up as a leader in the region to go to different market centers and train. I was going out to Long Island if my girlfriend needed me out there. And so we built the offices. We went from Keller Who to which Keller Williams to Keller Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember the time where we were going to open the floodgates of our IDX, letting our IDX on our MLS, our local MLS. And I was this girl who sat on the board of directors at the local association that they never really asked any questions.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to hear really from Keller Williams. They just needed to put me there, right? But it was the year that they're like, should we open up the IDX or not? I feel that was the year that KW became valid in my local MLS. They were like, you know what, ask Marybeth, because she's got like 200 plus agents.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I think it's a great, and now we look at it and go, was that really a great idea? We gave all the data, but anyway.
Well, sure.
So I was through that time of Keller Who in Jersey. We weren't now it's very prominent. We're the number one in most market share, most MLSs, because we have multiple in New Jersey.
And I want to add to that because, you know, we talk about Marybeth, and I say this all the time in these interviews, we're on the third generation of Keller Williams, right? I mean, you and I have been with KW for 20 years. My guess is, 80% of our people, including leadership, have not been at KW for longer than 3 to 5 years, right?
Yes.
So people don't know if you don't know what it's like to be Keller Who, right? Or to be the one that companies are, coming after or dismissing or whatever, and talking all the myths about. I mean, you and I have a chip on our shoulder, right? I mean, right. I will never lose it because I remember the things that I heard at my other company, before I came to KW. And I think some of these people that are with us right now, they're just too darn soft. I'm sorry. You don't know what it's like to have to fight to build a reputation, right?
We were talking about this with the children of our generation, right? Have we spoiled them by almost accident, right?
Yeah.
Yes, my son is spoiled by accident. Like he has everything that any really, really wealthy person might have.
Exactly.
And he doesn't even know it. He has no idea.
Yep.
The agents of today, we pour in and we realize all this amazing stuff is here. Command is here. That wasn't there, right?
Exactly.
But one thing that I was talking to Melanie Kenneman, and she was saying how we're that next generation. We were taught by the last generation, and we're waiting for somebody to come and keep it going, but we're it. Yeah. So I'm excited to now be a KWU instructor and QL instructor, and you're doing what you're doing because we have to carry the torch. Exactly. I mean, we have to light the torch to the next regime, the next generation, to spark their interest in all the opportunities that are here, because you could get lost in any company. You could get lost. Like, you're just not paying attention. If you think it's just a regular old, I do my transactions, I could show up to the holiday party, that's it. Yeah. That's not what we're about. We're an environment that is going to help you become the best version of yourself. Yeah. And hopefully, profit share and real estate sales have been the vehicle to get you there, right?
Well, and the culture of KW, which is you and I, who are, even though we're huge profit share people, you and I are both culture-driven people as well, and we understand that. And these are the conversations we have on the Profit Share Task Force: is when you grow so big so fast, right, and you don't necessarily, tell your story the best, right? Then sometimes things like culture kind of fade into the ecosystem as sort of this afterthought. But you and I know, being people that have been KW for 20 years, we're inherently different, and and look. It is because of Gary. It is because of Mo. But Gary and Mo are not going to be around forever. And we want to make sure that we are protecting these legacies that we're building, Marybeth, right? Because you and I know this ain't about our next check, okay? And I want you to get into how much you've made, how you've done it, and what you're doing with it, because I know you have a big why behind your profit share. But this is about protecting a legacy that will ripple through generations of our families. Oh yeah, and the future of this profession, which is a whole nother conversation. So look, okay, so you're, I know you're a team leader. You've launched multiple market centers. You're a Hall of Fame team leader. You launched the top most profitable market center in 2019, which was, I believe, Wayne. Was it Wayne, or what was it?
Wayne, New Jersey. Yeah, Wayne, New Jersey. Right before the pandemic, I was at that market center when the pandemic hit. Yeah, and.
So let's talk about your intention. So obviously we know taking a team leader position is a great way to build your profit share. And we always want our leadership teams to take advantage of that opportunity, right? Because when you get people that walk through the front door that don't know anybody at KW, or you're in a market center with your agents are not giving you referrals, right? You have to grow it. And so a part of being a leader is the opportunity to build your profit share. Obviously, you want to, from a big picture standpoint, grow it through your agents since they're the ones driving the business. But talk about how you started to build your profit share, how your life, because, you know, look, I didn't know if you, if the profit share opportunity was a part of your decision to be a team leader, but talk about how profit share started to become this thing in your life where you're like, oh my God, you know, this is something to focus on.
So profit share has made a lot of choices in my life easier. Right? Oh, I have profit share. So, and I'll share a few of them. I was looking over here because I just wanted to see if I had this book. When Mo Anderson went on her tour with the Joy-Filled Life, she has a chapter on money. And when she talks about money and how her father talked to her, I mean, now Mo's in her 80s. Right. So we're talking about a tenant farmer's daughter from Oklahoma.
Exactly.
And in the money chapter, he's talking about, you know, don't get mad at the wealthy because the wealthy do good. They pave the roads, they make the buildings, but just go make a lot of money and go do good with it. And she will always tell you, just go. There's nothing wrong with making a lot of money.
Exactly.
It's just go do some good stuff with it. So, you know, I was raised in a really good family as well, where we did do a lot. My dad was an elk, so we did a lot of things with the elks. He was exalted ruler one year, so we did. But that was always like children, some kind of children that we were going to rally around and give back, and we were always involved in the church and stuff like that. But it wasn't until I really got inspired with Mo Anderson as to what profit share can do, what I can do with it. So the decision for me to be a team leader had nothing to do with profit share, because back in the day, if you remember, you couldn't sell. There was no transition out of your team. It was kind of like hand your business over and go be a team leader.
Exactly.
We didn't do that well. We really didn't, because I do feel there's a bunch of team leaders that are my age in the business, and we all transitioned right into the leadership and didn't keep the sales referral arm going, right?
And we were still growing, you know, the concept of a team, right? And it's still kind of happening. But I can understand how that would then, it's a tough thing to let go of, right? To let go of this business that you had built and to take this leap of faith into leadership. Yeah,
but we were, and we were still being made fun of for teams, right? We were like, oh, everybody's got a team over at Keller Williams. Like, well, I do think teams may be the way of the future, and that, you know, anyway, so a robot could do a lot of our job on the back end, and then we could have our people actually interacting with people. So to take the team leader role was more about, I wanted to see our market center be what other market centers looked like. Like, I wanted to see that profit share thriving. I wanted to see us have a roster where we had mega teams and mega agents. I honestly, and if you look at my restaurant, 15 years with that family, I was never a partner or any. I just always wanted to see us winning. I just was that girl that loves to win, be on the winning team. So with me taking the team leader role, it was kind of like, well, who else is going to do it? Who else in the market? It can't be somebody from outside KW, because good Lord, they got to learn everything about KW and management and leadership. Right. So, and then all of our Kellerisms. So I just felt obligated to be the one to say, well, I see a lot of team leaders in the country that every opportunity started from being a team leader. Right. Mark King, our president, was a team leader in many, many places. Right.
Had you sponsored anybody prior to taking the team leader position?
Right. I mean, so what had happened was, by the time I became the team leader, I had such a great rapport with agents in the market. I had like some of the most fun open houses. I was, you know, very nice to negotiate with. I wasn't going to curse at you, yell at you, like, call me back when you have a better time, right? So having a great rapport in the market, like you said, be a great agent at Keller Williams first. Then you attract great agents, and then they want you to be their sponsor.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't say that by the time I took the team leader role 4 years in, was I, you know, swimming in profit share. If you look at my history, I think I was doing about, by year 4, 10,000 in profit share, maybe.
But the office wasn't super profitable yet.
It was not super profitable.
So how many people do you think you had sponsored directly prior to
that point? Maybe directly 7.
Okay.
And from the 7, what I would do though is I like friends with advocates. So they always had a few people to come with them. And a lot of that.
To say that you, even though these were 7 experienced agents, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
But that if you hadn't done that, you might not have been offered the team leader position. Do you think that played a role in that a little bit? Just
100%.
Attraction,
100%, because the previous team leaders had not shown that. And that was one of the missing pieces, right? They might be able to be a great manager, but they're not able to influence people to make the decision, not recruit them, influence people to make the right decision. They're not attracting the right people to sit down with them for coffee, right? Are they showing up? I used to show up at the board, right? And run the associates committee.
I love that.
That wasn't because I wanted to run the associates committee. That was because I wanted to show up as a leader outside of my KW environment to the rest of the broker managers and right.
So generation, yeah, it's not
even to this day, they're like, "We have a spot for you on the board." I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm good." However, in my new season with my new goals, I think that might be right back into the den where I made the magic happen. So what happened though was when I took the team leader role, a lot of relationships that had watched me at my level, I was at the same level. Now I go to this next level, but I'm not, excuse my word, I'm not cocky about it. Like I'm confident and I can help you and I'm here for you. I'm servant leader, Mo Anderson, servant leader, Mary Tennant, servant leader.
Yep.
And that's who I was. And so even inside of the other brokerages that were big shops until maybe like 2012, where we had a big switch in our local area as to who was number 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. But when I started, we were number 23. I was like, man, I remember being the team leader, like, we're number 23 in the local board. We're going to get to number 1. And they were like, okay, you're so crazy. But also prior to me becoming the team leader and prior to me growing a large downline, I showed up at those on the culture committee at the office. I showed up and organized the tricky trays.
Yeah.
I was the girl that lived closest to the office that I could come over and shut the alarm off if it went off.
Exactly.
Right? Like, it was my home just as much as it was the owner's home because we're stakeholders. We share.
God, I love you. I love you when you start talking my language. But that's exactly what it is. I mean, it's 100% a mindset, which is I am a stakeholder, not just in this office, but I'm also a stakeholder in my fellow agents, right? Like, and the 2 years that I was a top sponsoring associate in this entire company, I mean, I won the culture award for my market center both years. It's not a coincidence, right? Yeah. Like, I walk the walk so that when I talk the talk, I sound authentic and I believe what I'm talking about. And I think, especially in real estate, Marybeth, when you're trying to attract agents, I mean, they can smell a script or a fake person a mile away, right? Yeah. It's when you are authentic and you're respected and you care about people, that's when the magic happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, that comes from mom, right? Mom and dad, just be authentic and real and genuine. Always. There definitely were times and, my Christian faith, I really had I guess my biggest lesson in that was just, there were times that my pride was getting a little bit too big, and my mom would say, you're beating on your chest. Like, it's not you. Yeah. And I'm like, I really did do that, but okay. Yeah. And so in my more recent years, I'm realizing like, no, you know what, there's a higher being there and there's a bigger purpose for all of this. And now like realizing what the purpose of all these, because guys, I mean, I'm speaking to people who are now listening to being a team leader. It's not all like cherries and whipped cream and sprinkles. It's not, but you don't take risk, you don't get reward. The bigger risk you take, the bigger reward. And I mean, what risk are you really taking when you're being authentic and real and you're showing up in an environment and pouring into people? Exactly. The only thing that happens, and I've been to Hoboken. I launched Hoboken, New Jersey. Many of you know that. Brooklyn. I launched Staten Island, New Jersey. I was up in Bergen County, down in South Jersey. I was at the Wildwoods. It's very wild down there. Great friend Jeff Quinton brought his 13.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I transitioned him over to KW, and then I was like, it's weird down here. I'm going to go back up to the real Jersey. But I've been in so many markets that if I just show up real, and if it doesn't work out, or if there's a better way, or if there's a better opportunity, like John Maxwell says, you're always moving towards something. You're not running away from something, but opportunities show up all over. And when you pour into a team leader role or a rainmaker role, or you take profit share serious and you say, I'm the CEO of my profit share tree, you can really show up pretty awesome and enjoy what you're doing and make a legacy, like you're saying. So
I love that. And look, the fact is, these are the moments, right? I mean, shifts are the moments when, you get your unfair share. And my guess is a lot of people in KW are not being intentional about profit share because of the shift, because they just want to sell a house and they don't want to focus on it. But you and I both know the people that we attract to KW right now, I mean, who survived the shift. Yeah. I mean, how many decades will they be contributing to our profit share? So look, whether you participate in profit share or not, or whether you're focusing on it or not, is irrelevant.
And I currently lead I'm the director of productivity and coaching for Adele's office, like full circle back to her world. She's got 1,500 agents and I'm there to lead coaches and the coaches lead the agents. So even in that, there's a lot of people that are in my downline because that's the original office. And from that office, I then helped her grow into 2 more office locations. So that's the 3 out of her 4 market centers I helped be a foundation of. So to your point before, did I recruit as a team leader? Look, when we're going into a new market, and I would hope that a team leader never has to do this because we should have so many leads coming in from our associates and leadership all over the country, all over the world. Yet when we go into a new market or we're just in this spot where there's not a lot of growth, we got to go looking for it. So you look in the pond and you identify talent and you start calling people saying, and I could tell you 2 people. One, he was at a company that was a flat fee company. And I'm like, this guy, the amount of business he can do, the amount of money he could make if he sold those as real listings. So, I mean, fast forward, he's been with us, I think now 14 years. Wow. Yeah. He has just bought a house in Italy, and he is one of my biggest. His profit share line is, I think, 40 wide in his first level. So, and he's 70, and he's like, this is my next phase. And I'm like, oh my gosh, amazing. And then one other girl, you know how sometimes when you look at the MLS, you could see if it's a new number. Yeah. Like Adele's number was a 4-digit number. I was a 5-digit number, right? And I was a 2-3. This girl pops up and she's a 3-1. And I'm like, and she's number 1 on the list of the big competitor across the street. Hey, do you know that you're number 1 on your roster? Did your broker tell you that? And she's like, what list are you looking at? I was like, well, I have it in front of me right now. And she literally dropped everything, came over to me. And this is a girl, her name is Amber Noble. And she's,
oh my God, I love Amber Noble.
Yeah. So
oh my God, she's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. And she has an amazing downline that spread into Georgia and Florida. And so those were me having to go out there and find talent. And hopefully I've done right by them, that they are finding talent, which I know they are. And the other part of it is relationships that saw me grow into this role and go, wow, there is a lot of opportunity. I knew her as an agent that I used to negotiate deals with. So that happened too as a team leader. But as a team leader, don't count on the opportunity as a team leader to grow your personal downline, but do count on it as an opportunity to grow your skills. Absolutely. To be able to influence on your own time to your downline. Right.
It's repetition. It's what you focus on expands. Right. And think back when you had that, brand new license at age 26 coming out of the restaurant business. Oh my God, probably the scariest thing for you, which it was for me, was, oh my God, what happens when I get my first client? Right. They, I don't know anything about anything, but the truth is, right, they don't know what you don't know. That's right. And so you fake it till you make it, but you commit to mastery, and you don't have to be $1 million agent to know how they do business, right? You learn the MREA book, right? You can speak the language, right? Exactly. And I can give Amber a shout out because I've stolen one of her quotes. I heard her speak, I believe. I can't remember when I heard her speak, but one of the things that I steal from her, and I can't give her a shout out every time I use it, but she says, find out what makes people smile and show them how to exponentially smile more. And I'm pretty sure it was Amber that said that. I just love the way that is frames what attracting people to KW. Because look, sometimes it's about finding the pain, right? We always say find the pain, KW's the medicine cabinet. But the other side of it is find out what makes them happy, right? Yeah. And then look, let me take you to a leverage class and show you how you can spend more time with your family, right? Or how you can build a legacy and do, amazing things with affecting the world, which I know you're passionate about. So back to you. Okay. So go ahead, please.
Yeah. I do feel that my style in conversations has been more towards the pleasure than the pain.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I will tell you, there is an opportunity when you're really in relationship with somebody, if you can get them vulnerable, if you become vulnerable. And I think that's something I learned through great trainers, Gene Rivers and Sergio Alcazar, and, just get a little vulnerable. Holly Perry, Prescott, whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Get a little vulnerable, show them who you are, show them what you've been through. Then maybe they start to share, and it may just be the pain that you say, how long can you do that for? Come on, honestly, tell me how long you can do that for.
Yeah.
And then you go, let me talk about the pleasure, right? But there may be an opportunity that pain does move somebody. But often, if you just talk about that brain with all of the map, with all the opportunities in KW, military, veteran, Pan America, there's going to be a spot somewhere that they're drawn to. You put that page out and you tell me, what speaks to you on this page? Ooh, luxury. Ooh, commercial.
Exactly.
Like, okay, let me tell you a little bit about what that can do for you. And also, I believe a consistent message of a local expertise with a global reach.
Yeah.
And I'm just experiencing that. And I know you are, an international man over there, you and your wifey, and me and my husband are too. I just landed an amazing opportunity to impact the islands of Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're going to be teaching Ignite once a week just to get them the KW material into their market centers. So
incredible.
Yeah. And so that becomes a whole nother opportunity.
I love that. Honestly, I haven't had as many opportunities internationally to teach because such a huge part of my class and my messaging is our culture starts with profit share. And, we know that worldwide is more growth share. But the fact is, I haven't been able to fully break into that. But I love that because it's such an untapped part of KW for me, right? We're in 50
so cool
countries. Yeah. And I see people going to South Africa for family reunions in France. And I'm just like, people don't get it. Like, the opportunities at KW have never been more immense than they are right now, right? I mean, we're expanding at a rate in other, around the world like we were back in the day here in North America.
And we're only in 55, regions. So there's so many more regions that we can be part of.
Exactly.
But you said you had a really important name, Althea Osborne. So let me just go to that a little bit on the success I have had. And those people, Althea Osborne, Linda McKissick, right? Mike Brody. I remember when Linda McKissick sat on the stage once again at family reunion. Gary asked her and Jimmy to come out, sit on the stage, and her little feet were like dangling.
You remember back when we talked about profit share at these events? Remember the good old days? Yeah. Because that inspired us, right?
100%. I think we need to bring that back, Aaron. Yeah. So she sat on that stage. There was nothing background. It was her and Gary, her swinging her legs. And he said, how much money did you make this year in profit share? And she said at the time, $450,000. And I almost fell over.
Yeah.
Right. So now we know Linda has hit 1.6 million in a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so over 16 million, her and Jimmy, over 16 million.
I would think
by the way, they've only sponsored 33 people to KW between the two of them. Now, these were influential people, but once again, you never know who somebody might become and who they might attract. I mean, Amber Noble's a great example of that, right?
You never know. You never know, right?
Brett Mitchell.
So Brett Mitchell, right? I interviewed him a few years ago. Impressive. Like, thank you, Aaron, for bringing him.
He's a beast.
But so you got that triangle where they got 32 in their first line, but like 5,000 in the whole tree. And that started to get me like, wow, like with that many. And at the time I only had 20. Now I have about 32 in my first line and only about 600 in the full line.
Only 600. Yes.
Well, yeah, I say that because I look at Linda McKissick and I just want to get there, but we have to keep our blinders on and like worry about our own journey, right? Linda has amazing things like the Profit Share Summit, her Profit Share Mastery course. Definitely people should plug into that and start taking action, right? So I got some new things coming up for 24 because in my halftime, my next season, my next 20 years, it's going to be all about profit share and pouring in as an instructor. So
let's give a shout out to Dave Jenks, right? Because he says it best. If you build it wide, time will take it deep. And look, I know your faith is very important to you, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the most religious guy in the world, but I will say I have a lot of faith in Keller Williams and the future of it. And I think just, real fast, just want to make a point here, which is, if you don't believe, okay, in who we are and where we are going, right, you're probably not going to be super intentional about this. Okay. So understand that this is we're in a moment right now. And Marybeth, as we emerge from this shift, I think you and I would agree, as a much stronger company than we were before the shift and before the pandemic, because we see a lot of the changes that are happening. Like, there is no column on the return on investment spreadsheet for faith. I mean, either you believe or you don't. And, we can sit here and look at, feel bad about how our profit share might be down right now or whatever it might be, or when we lost a sponsorship. But the thing is, this train ain't stopping. Okay. And I do feel like we're just getting started when it comes to the global growth of KW. But understand, my guess is most of your downlines in your top 4 or 5 levels right now, right?
That's right.
So at some point, right, it will grow deep. And I think knowing that, but continuing to feed it, is how you go Althea Osborne. It's how you go Mike Brody, because they don't ever stop. They just keep building, right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And Althea, on the international, Althea, her story of bringing South Africa to us really inspires me. And I think everybody should know, you go on vacation.
Yeah.
Go and ask, who should I be talking to? If I had to introduce real estate something to somebody, who is it? Yep. And when they tell you it's that person, actually go call them, because she met this guy at a BP gas station and boom, you have Africa.
Yeah. Right. It's insane. It's insane. I love it. But you miss 100% of every shot you don't take. And we know many stories, and I'm sure you've seen this from a team leader perspective, where people have great relationships with top agents, right? Next thing you know, they walk in the office one day, and that top agent that they had a great relationship with joined KW and didn't put them down as their sponsor, because they either they thought people had been recruiting about, everyone's been trying to recruit them, or B, they just weren't intentional about it. And look, the people that are intentional, the people that are lead generating, that are setting appointments, right? They're the ones getting into the shotgun position for profit share. They're just making
I remember in that #1 launch office.
Yeah.
I put this person on a panel, right? Because the other way, as a team leader, as a top agent, you want to get serious about your profit share, go find some really awesome producers from other companies, put them on a panel, and you moderate it.
Yeah.
You'll show up as a rock star. They'll be like, how do you know all that stuff? No. Before you know it, 2 of those people on the panel within 2 years will be at KW. So I had this woman on the panel twice, and they said to me, oh, you're never going to get her. She'll never come. Now, this is the owners. She's never going to come. Don't tell Marybeth that she's never going to come, because now she's going to be my best friend.
Right.
And I really loved this person. She was I said, how could you say that? She is literally KW, just with a different color jacket on. I mean, come on. And I took her to lunch, and I went and met her, and we became friends. And you know what she said to them when she came? She didn't touch my pocketbook. She touched my heart.
Wow. Love that line. That's great.
Everybody else is looking for this lady to come over because you're going to make more money. You're going to have this. You're going to have that. I said, what do you like to do? You like to impact women? Well, did you ever see this that we wrote? Did you ever see this? You could do a one thing seminar. Hey, how about this? Quantum leap. Oh my, you could write, right? So
empire builders, all that stuff, right? Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, that person had been introduced to KW a long time ago by somebody in California. And the leaders, like you said, had never really done it for her. Yeah. So now when she's sitting and I'm touching her heart and she decides to choose her sponsor, it was hard for her. It was me or that person. And Aaron, I think you'd be proud to know she chose that person. That person.
Oh, okay. And I would have been proud either way, to be honest.
Well,
no, because here's the thing. I mean, you can't. It's, first of all, let's get real. It's the recruit's decision, #1.
Yeah, it is. Okay?
No, but you were, one, you were in leadership, right? And my guess is you at least acknowledged this other person. You had a conversation with them. You wanted her to make a decision from the heart as well. But look, karma, that's how karma works, right? I mean, you win
and honestly, I called out to that person because this person was in my market the person that was referring her was on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
Right. They had known each other from Star Power and all that stuff. Right?
Exactly.
So I just wanted to honor the relationship. And in doing that, I think it made my relationship with this person who's now at KW much better. Right.
And it makes you more valid as a leader. Look, I hear some team leaders say, oh my God, I would never accept the sponsorship from a recruit, right? Like in general. Okay. Just in general. I'm like, what are you talking about? You absolutely have the right to do that. The thing is, you need to ask the right questions. Okay. Do you know anybody at KW? Has anybody else shaped your opinion of this company? It's the right thing to do. It's what you would expect other people to do. When you have somebody, when your sister walks into an office, don't you want somebody in leadership to ask them, do you have a family member at KW? So look, that's, you and I, and I think a part that we need to acknowledge here is a part of getting opportunities at KW is not just building your downline. It's not just taking leadership positions. It's being culture driven and having and operating with a high level of integrity. I know that sometimes I say really stupid things. Okay. I'm not perfect, but I think somewhere deep down inside, KW is thrilled that I'm the guy that kicked open the door to internet recruiting, which I think we could agree was an inevitability. The fact is, I've always done it the right way, and nobody can really challenge my integrity. And even though I've been failing forward over the years, to know that I'm viewed as a high integrity person in KW has opened up a lot of doors for me, as much as building my downline. So it's just important to make that point, that doing the right thing is not just a part of our Y4C2Ts. Okay. It's the way, it's about walking the walk. All right.
That's right. So in all of that, I will say, I'm here 20 years, and as a brand new agent, I would have never expect to walk into any other company and then tell me, hey, in 20 years, we'll have given you $500,000. On top of everything that you made, like, you're going to probably go teach some classes and like spend some time like helping people, but we're going to give you $500,000 in 20 years. And I would be like, yeah, right. Okay.
Let me ask you this. So you sold actively
for 4 years.
For how years? How many?
For only 4 years.
For 4 years. That you've been doing referral business over the years. Yeah.
For sure. Like 5 to 10 referrals a year. Yeah.
How much do you think you've paid out KW in your lifetime as an agent? Like,
as an agent?
Yeah.
You figure if I'm here 20 years and if you average, I'm a $27,000 cap. So I probably paid, because when I had a team, I probably paid 5 years of full cap, which what's that? 30 times 150,000, maybe just definitely shy of 200,000, I would say.
So what you're telling me, Marybeth, is that you've paid out about 200,000 to KW, but you've gotten back 500,000 plus in profit. 520. That's right. So, technically, we paid you to sell real estate at Keller Williams, right? And the best part about it is you're just getting started.
I'm just getting started.
Right. And people don't get that, right? They don't get like the power of passive income and the compound effect of a profit share tree and what it means over time. I mean, I would not be, it took you 20 years to make over $500,000. My guess is it's going to take you 10 years to make the next $500,000. And then it'll take you 5 years to make the next million. Right.
Well, look at the history of ours, right? How long did it take us to $1 billion? 30 something years. And then we did almost the next billion in just like 5.
Exactly.
Right? So I intend on that happening to me too. Yep. Because it's all trending. So we would just trend with it if we decide to just engage and jump on the boat.
All right, so let's talk about what because we have about 10, 15 minutes left.
Yeah, sure.
I want to hear about what this, you always reference it, and I'm not the best at knowing, with having the best memory. So tell me about what your big why is with, I know you're big into the, into charity and things like that. Let's talk about what's really important to you and what this profit share money is really doing for you to make a difference in the world. Yeah.
So, back in 2008, ironically, when I took the team leader role, I also had my sister was like in Ireland or something. So my mom was like, let's do a soup kitchen or something for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, what? Okay. So the 3 of us, mom, dad, and myself, were looking for a soup kitchen in our county, which was extremely hard to find. Yeah. And they rerouted us to the county that I sit in right now, because this is why I'm here, because all roads lead to Perth Amboy. And so I walked into this church, which happened to be also a men's program home. I didn't know what it was. All I knew was there were people there and they seemed to be receptive to help. And I was there and I was being fulfilled and purposeful and smiling a lot and having a great time and feeling good and leaving there feeling like I need to do more of this.
Yeah.
And it honestly was that day. And my pastor's one of my best friends. And I was watching, like, that is very like, that must be what Jesus looks like when he's walking on, like, hugging on everybody. They're dirty, who's starving, like packaging food to go. And I just said, oh my gosh, I am blessed and I need to do some stuff here. And because I make profit share, what if I could just take my profit share and start blessing the feeding once a month, because they were feeding once a month to the community, not just Thanksgiving. Every last Tuesday of the month, they were feeding. So I talked to the pastor at the time and he said, well, if you want to take one, you know, we're going to still do ours. I said, well, I need the last Tuesday, right? Systems and models. Because if I'm going to recruit people, I need to be able to market it that it's always the last Tuesday of the month.
Yeah.
And so since 2008, we have been providing my now church the last Tuesday of the month, about 400 meals.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's just the beginning. So that brings me to this city, because then when I'm opening up Hoboken, which is just north of here, I said, well, I'm driving a lot. I got to figure out where I'm going to buy the next house. And it wound up being here in Perth Amboy. And I like the church. I like the way it makes me, you know, feel, like the purpose. And so what I wound up purchasing, and at the time I had the other house. I'm still young. Like, I mean, I say young, but you know, I'm young. Well, actually, let me take you back for 1 second. Is my father died. So my father did that with me from 2008 till 2011. And November 1st of 2011, 11111, all the signs of the angels. Daddy went and he went to be with the Lord. And that was my cooker. That was my, like, we could do anything. He'd take the day off from work and we'll just go to the Newark. We'll go here. We'll feed. And so when my dad died that year, I remember my pastor calling and saying, like, you know, we understand if you're not going to run the Thanksgiving kitchen, because at this point now I'm running the kitchen. And I said, what do you mean? We're going to go even harder. Like, what else would I do? Like, that would be dad and me all day. And so from that moment, daddy died. And I thought, like, we only have a little bit of time here. My dad was 68 years old. I want to definitely give back. I got Mo Anderson saying, got to make a lot of money and go give it out. I have this opportunity now that I'm going to buy a house in Perth Amboy because it makes me feel good there. I'll find my purpose when I get there. So I find this house, and I come to find out that the church that I was going to has a addiction recovery program for men. And there's 16 beds upstairs. And the downstairs where we were feeding was actually the church. So now I find this house and I'm like, because I see the women that come through from the men being in that position, I'm like, we got to do something for women. So I ultimately turned this 4,500 square foot house, 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. I wind up living there, and we turn it into a full-blown women's program, a transitional house, a faith-based transitional house, where from 2015 to just recently, 2023, we transitioned over 40 women and more than 40 children through the house, whether it was 1 year or 3 years. We provided housing, meals, clothing, and everything for the women.
Unbelievable.
I have taken kids in from foster care. I have been a guardian. I have pulled people out of, one girl with twins living in the car. You know, then there's even more situations where quiet help, right? If you're going through something, there's people out there that we know, you and I know, that go through stuff that nobody would ever want to talk about, right? And so I get sometimes those calls because they know how much I give back in my local community. Hey, can you help this one out? Because they're going through a little something. You can't really tell their local people. So I get a lot of calls because we have a nonprofit called Sheltered Hearts. And Sheltered Hearts is a recognized food, clothing, and shelter, and we just help people. So right now we run as more of a referral because we don't have women housing anymore. We work with a few other housing places. Right now, what we transitioned it into is that we have men at our program that are graduates now. And we have a lot of safe houses and transition houses for the men. And yet this house here is for the alumni, the men that choose to stay around and continue to serve in the ministry. They really don't want to go back to the areas where they came from because it's just much better for them to be in this environment. And so I've dedicated the house to the church for the men's program, and they pay a stipend to live there. Yeah. But it is, it's a blessing to be able to have a property that I know has literally saved families, because when you help a woman or you help a man, you're helping the whole family.
Absolutely.
Right? You're putting a father back with his kids. Now the grandchildren have a different story, right? So on a local level, that's where I really started to dive into, and we still are to this day. I put this up here because I still lead Thanksgiving. We're up to 3,000 meals. And I remind the team here that, we are constantly giving, and everybody's going to be helping that day. We cook 60 turkeys, 60 hams, and 15 trays of everything. And then I visited Africa. And when I went to Africa, that was me like finding myself. After Dad died, I really just needed to do his little soul search.
Yeah.
Kind of lost myself in a very long relationship. And then Dad died. It was kind of a wake-up call. And so I have an amazing relationship with the Majengo village in Moshi in Tanzania. And I have a really dear friend, Ogla, who is the OP of Kissimmee. And she is really impactful in Kenya. So she does Quantum Leap out in Kenya. We're talking about potentially Tanzania.
Wow.
And my friend Sheena Burden, Sidon Burden, she also has some Africa ties. So currently, my husband and I own 2 acres of land in Africa that we bought with the profit share. We have an MOU, like an understanding with my friend there who runs the local grassroots Better Future, which is an orphanage type of after-school program for the kids of the village. And the intention of those 2 acres, we're hoping to fence it in this year because the animals are eating the vegetation. We are looking to farm it for profits for the caretakers so that the program can continue to run and the rent, and the other is to sell for profit. And so we've set that up also with the intention that anything that comes from that, they tithe to the local church as well. So that's in the MOU. So we have our Africa project, and we have our men's home, women's home, Sheltered Hearts. We still collect clothes. We have a 3-car garage. And so all of that is done because profit share. My husband and I also just bought a house in Aruba. And with that, you start looking at profit share going like, how big of a life could we really have? If I can get to Linda McKissick's, I have 100,000 coming in a month, man, that's a big, big life. So, we're kind of like backing into that 100,000 month. Like, what could we do with 100,000?
Well, and I love that you say that and you bring up Linda, because look, the great thing about, look, let's get real. You just like blew my mind with everything you're doing. I call myself a culture guy. I'm gonna have to raise the bar when people like you are just unbelievable with what you're doing. So you've already inspired me to raise the bar for me. I hope there's some other people that watch this that are inspired to do more. But what does Linda say? She says something like, how many lives is too many to help, right? Like, when it comes, she's speaking to profit share, initially, which is, the great thing about this circle of life thing with KW is all you're doing is helping people, right? Yep. Coming to KW, right? Like, helping people, and then the profit share money is helping you help 100 times, 1,000 times more people. And that's what makes this company so amazing, is that, we're not just, it's not an MLM. We're not selling, you're not winning the war. Who cares about awards? Who cares about, rankings? All I care about is being able to impact the world and have a life by design. And you are literally, think about the journey you've been on.
Right? I know. I want to read a book. I think I need to read a book.
I feel like I'm a slacker considering what. No, I'm just saying it's inspiring, Marybeth. And have you ever been acknowledged? Have you ever been a cultural ambassador or anything like that for what you've been doing? I'm just curious.
No.
Okay. Well, who knows? Maybe someday that will happen. That's not why you do it. I know it's not why you do it, but
I will tell you though, I always had a goal So make this happen. Mo Anderson's inspirational brunch. I'm the girl that stays the extra day, brings the box of tissues. You know, whereas, you know, a lot of times you got top producers and even leaders, OPs, like, I got to get out of here. I can't sit there and listen to the crying, and that's not me. That morning that we finish our international conference off, it always starts with some sort of like gospel choir, some motivational songs, right? And it gets you in a position where then we share stories that are happening inside of our KW family. And then she also brings some amazing, like, you know, superstar that's like worldly doing something.
Yep.
That,
like you, by the way, you are worldly.
Thank you.
But you are worldly now. You are worldly.
You're right. They've
though.
drilled a well. I've actually watched videos of them drilling a well for us to get water to that land. And we've employed people just to plant the land. I mean, the things that we've done there. And like I said, Sheena, my friend, she's drilling wells there too. Olga, like, I would love to continue that journey with our profit share there. On a local level, I think it's going to be where the youth, right? The youth of today are impacted by all of this craziness in the world. And I think taking Quantum Leap into our youth and having more foundations, sponsorships, I don't know. I'm not sure what it looks like. All I know is I have a calling to go back to running my youth group in the church, young adults, and here in the community for sure to educate. But look, like I said, profit share is not something that I make a plan. I have to make X amount a month. It's how many people can I impact? And when I think about growing my profit share in this next season, I am looking for what Linda McKissick identified, right? I'm looking for the me's and the you's so that I can give those people the opportunity to be at the head of their tree, right? And we're here in Perth Amboy. We're looking to open this as a market center, so looking to attract great talent with their so being a little smarter in this season, smarter and not harder, working smarter, not harder.
And look, I gotta tell you, I love, I go to family reunion and mega camp to fill my cup, right? And it's it's probably about 60% Gary Keller, fills my cup, but the other 40% is the inspirational brunch from Mo or the cultural ambassador summit, whatever it might be. Like and conversations like this, to be honest with you, this is getting me, not only challenging me to try to make a bigger impact, but it's making me fall more in love with Keller Williams. These are the stories, Marybeth, that make me love this company because, look, it's, we're in a crazy time as an industry, right? And, the industry's under assault. We've got all these new flashy objects. Agents are just trying to sell their houses. People are trying to cut out commissions, right? There's lawsuits. We all are our heads are spinning, but there is this true north that I think KW allows us. It's sort of the anchor for a lot of us to kind of know that, hey, you know what? We're tethered to a company that is about something more than just selling houses. It's about purpose.
Bigger than the money.
Community. It's about fighting for the future of our profession. And even though times are tough right now, there's something to be said about sort of tethering ourselves to the KW train and knowing that, hey, everything's going to be all right because we're at a company where people work together, where they care about each other, where we're not just about, making money and selling houses. And we're led by a guy like Gary Keller. I mean, the impact that Gary Keller's made, not just on Austin, Texas and the music scene, but like his philanthropy is off the charts too. And it's just like, if we can just keep this going, right? I mean, I just think that I wish more and more of our associates understood, one, how amazing this company is and all the opportunities they have, but how powerful profit share is as a gift to people you attract and to the things that you can do with the money, Well,
the next thing that my husband has as a goal, because the other part of this is bring your spouse into it, bring them to Quantum Leap, bring them to Family Reunion, let them hear Gary and Mo. And gosh, I went to see Mo deliver Quantum Leap in the upstate New York region.
Wow. Yeah.
I had never seen her in all the years do it. The full thing. And I paid full price to sit front row with her and have lunch with her, because how many more times are we going to have Mo be able to tell her story, right?
No, and I don't know if you saw her on the virtual profit share summit that the McKissicks did, but like she said, to have her, and how passionate I am about things in KW, but to hear her say, all the things that I've been saying, right? And to say it with such conviction and such simplicity, right? I mean, that's what I love about Mo. It's like, this ain't complicated, right? Do the right thing, follow the models, live with integrity, right? Live a
Lily Mae Tillman, right? Lily.
Yeah, no, but that's what I love. And look, so it's people like you and other people that we know in this company that are going to carry that torch for hopefully the next, 100 years. But so look, well, as we wrap this up, Marybeth, you got people on here that are, want to be hopefully more intentional about profit share. What is ultimately your advice to them if they want to today say, look, I haven't sponsored anybody KW. We've only sponsored a couple people. I haven't been intentional about it. What are 2 or 3 things that I need to do today to start heading down this path of being intentional about profit share?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is know the MREA. Be able to go through some models, and because what I found is, there's the original one.
Well, you talked about your original version. Does this look familiar to you? These are the pages from the book that have fallen out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to see mine. I'll put a picture in the Facebook group. Yeah. It's like in pieces, but that's the original one where Gary couldn't get anybody to publish it, and he published it himself with Relic, right? So MREA for sure, just because if I sat with you, Aaron, and you're at another company and I just ask you, hey, what are your goals? Share with me what your goals are. Can I literally go, let me show you an economic model that we use in our company that can literally just show you how many appointments you need to be on. That would be the easiest thing. And guys, there's like Excel docs that you could just plug in the numbers, although I'm a math nerd. But know the models enough to even point to it. And if it's not the models, then it's the one thing, or just get familiar with, go to Keller Inc.com and get familiar with what we have. The other thing I would say is get yourself to family reunion. This year should be a very exciting year with all the conversations that we're talking about with our industry. We are change agents. Gary is our change agent for us. His voice is heard on a national level. So our voices are heard through him. I would say get to that. I would read The Go-Giver Gives More, that red book. I don't know if it's red or green, but the red one, The Go-Giver. Sean Rawls introduced that to me a long time ago, and the law of authenticity is in there. And I spoke a little about authentic and genuine. If you can't grasp that, it doesn't matter what you're trying to sell somebody at the table, you're selling them. Exactly. If you're genuinely getting to know them and questioning, and then listen when they're answering, be real. You go to open houses, talk to people. Broker opens, right? You go to realtor functions, ask people, hey, what's next for you? Hey, how's the business going? Oh, what's good? Tell me something good. Right. Ask questions, get to know people. But I would say it's the MREA, it's plugging in, and then what you focus on expands. So just like I say with the agents, we're actually rewriting the profit share course. That's something I would love to see people like you and I get out there and teach the new course. But what I say to the agents is, just like you want listings, you got to put them in the database. You got to focus on them. You got to do things. You got to touch them. It's the same thing with the recruits. It's the same thing if you want to be a sponsor. Yeah. Identify
a house, or hello, people. I get these agents all the time. They're like, "How do I do it?" I was like, "How do you sell a house?" It's the exact same.
It's the same thing,
but you have relationships, right? Commit to mastery, take mind share, find their pain, find out what makes them happy, and be the person that they see as the person to help them achieve their big.
Yeah, and if anything, if you are at a point where you're like, "Man, I'm new," I think I was when Sean was saying, like, you're new, you don't really know much. You don't know much, but you know what you did? You made a really great decision to go to KW. So what you do know is that he's got the answers or she's got the answers. Hey, could I get you an appointment with somebody that I really care about? Hey, would you just listen could you just interview? Hey, come to an office meeting. Or, hey, let me share this with you. This is a file that I was using. So come from contribution. Focus on what you focus on expands. Come from contribution. It's like a bold show, right?
Yeah. No, I love it. And by the way, how lucky are your associates to be able to leverage you as their closer? Yes. Think about it. You're a top 1% closer who they can trust, and by the way also who's super valid and is driven by wanting to help people. There is something to be said about knowing the people I'm referring leads to care as much about this person and KW as much as I do, right? And so they're very lucky to have you. And look, we understand it's not their job to recruit, right? That's leadership's job. That's but right. To have an amazing leader like you in their back pocket, right? All you got to do is connect them. I have a feeling you're gonna put your hooks into that recruit and never let go, you know?
Yeah, if I choose that they're right for us, right? Because there's also the part where some people are just not right for us. They won't be able to acclimate to our environment. And yet there's some people that you have to look at, like that one person that she was never going to come, and say, you know what? And if that's what that environment created, in our environment, I could see her use all of this in here, and boom, she's so Central Jersey, New Jersey referrals, I'll take them.
I love it. Do you want to give a shout out for is there a place that people were inspired by your conversations about what you're doing? Is there a way for them to donate or to find out more information about some of the stuff you've been doing? And you can add this in the comment section.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Our shout out too.
Yeah, our nonprofit is called Sheltered Hearts, shelteredhearts.org. And you can donate through there, or I'll go ahead and just put the Venmo that you can donate to. But you could be sure that for every dollar you put in, I probably put 5. So, you know, we're committed to really making an impact. And if you would think back, and it just came to me while I was talking, there was a woman named Mama Shu in Detroit who created a homework house. So I hope that my story here inspired somebody to go do something crazy and wild and move on a dream that they thought they would never be able to do, but maybe with profit share, you could do it. Because Mama Shu was that for my husband. He's committed to creating a homework house here in our local area. This was a woman that was in Detroit. She had lost her son due to a drive-by. When everything went to foreclosure, she started buying back the neighborhood. And when she bought back the neighborhood, she realized I need to put a place where they could do their laundry, they could do their homework, there's computers, and it's safe. And so I just, it just came to me, and I don't know why I need to say that, but I really hope that today's conversation inspires somebody out there to do something bigger than what you're doing right now.
Well, you already have.
Okay.
You've inspired me. No, seriously. And I mean that. And I take that principle with me on the road when I teach. I'm like, look, if all I do is inspire one person today, it's a total win. So you've already won the day. So look, you're the best. I love having people like you on the Profit Share Task Force, because you know that this is not just about numbers. This is about culture. It's about purpose. It's about protecting the future of it. And so, I can't thank you enough for all you do and in the world, but what you do for KW and Profit Share. And can't wait to give you a big hug when I see you in Vegas. All right.
Thank you so much. Just getting started.
Hey, all right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye, dear.